for the fury of those who are oppressed.
Oppressed people's nation. I'm only here for the people.
Brown, I done came back from that cigarette smoke. You know, just listening to how these people are being oppressed, discriminated. You know, it just, my heart just goes out to them. But I told you I had 2 more that if you thought them 4 was hot, check out what we about to go through now. What's your name, young lady?
My name is CHRYSLYNN. I worked at the Olive Garden for almost 5 years. I started there as a server in, I believe, 2006, at the beginning of 2006. I had no problems with the company. I drank the Kool-Aid, swallowed it. I made sandwiches out of it. I love that place. Like, I love my job. I was very happy. I felt like I pretty much got to do what I wanted to do as far as scheduling and everything. For me, everything was fine. I got the stock, I got the insurance, I got the savings plan. Everything they had to offer, I took it. I took care of myself. I was a single woman, no kids. I took care of myself with that job for the first year that I was there by myself. I met my husband, and we got married in 2007, and we planned to have a family. And we had we wanted to have a son. So I became pregnant in March 2009. I informed the Olive Garden that I was pregnant, and something must have been in the water at the time, because there was about 6 other women that were pregnant in the restaurant at the same time.
At Olive Garden? At
the Olive Garden.
6 of y'all?
Yes, it was something in the water, you know, but there are a lot of pregnant women going around the Olive Garden. Now, I knew from hearing through the, you know, managers' little whispers that the managers were pretty they weren't happy about all these women being pregnant, because now they had to make accommodations. Now they had to find places for these women to work, and they just didn't like it. I watched, since I was one of the last of the pregnant women to come forth and say I'm pregnant, I watched how they treated the other young ladies that were pregnant. Now, depending on who you were, like you heard in the other stories, there are certain things, certain criteria that you were okay, and there are certain criteria that they would pick on you, or they didn't really appreciate your employment with them. There was one young lady that she was put on light duty because she had complications. One of the managers called her doctor and asked her doctor why she was put on light duty. Now, that's a breach of confidentiality, which that young lady subsequently went and got a lawsuit. She got paid, you know, took the money, and she was done. Well, there was a few other young ladies that, for some reason, they never made it to the end of their pregnancy being employed at the Olive Garden. Somehow, some way, they got weeded out of the Olive Garden. They got fired, or they were, you know, they just disappeared. Like, you pregnant, you disappear. You know, it's like it was back in the 40s, you know. They send you off somewhere, some store down south. You know, so I was fine, but we were at the old store. So we got the announcement that we were moving to the new store. Everybody was all excited. We were tired of the old store. We wanted to, you know, get it. We wanted to change. Everybody wanted to start over. So a manager named Heather came to me, and she said, you know, you're pregnant, you know. Now, she's pregnant too, by the way. She said, well, you're pregnant, you know, and I know how you feel, because I'm pregnant too, and, you know, you don't want to go over there to that new store. You should just take this buyout. And I said, what buyout? She said, well, they'll give you $2,000 if you resign and not go over to the new store, and you'll be in good standing if you want to come back after you had a baby. So basically, have your baby, come back. You know, take this money, have your baby, come back, and everything will be fine. But now my accumulation of time would start all over again, which that's something I didn't want to do. If you work there for 4 or 5 years, there's benefits that comes with that time, and I didn't want to give up those benefits. So I chose to continue working. And I knew that I had no intentions of going back after I had the baby. I wanted to stay home with my son. So I wanted to work up until I had the baby. And it was like an ongoing joke in the restaurant. Like, when is you going on leave? Oh, I'm having my baby in the alley. Meaning, I'm having my baby right here in the kitchen, and then I'm going to go on leave. I'm not leaving until this baby comes out. I'm getting all the money I can until I have this baby. So after she offered me the buyout, you know, she was offering it to me like 2-3 times a week. Like she would just keep just hammering it in, you know, tell me how hard times are or whatever, like she's living my life. So eventually she got the message, no, I'm not going to accept the buyout. I am going over to the new restaurant. So I usually would work 4 or 5 days a week, you know, right in there. You know, we went over to the new restaurant. Now all of a sudden I have 2 days a week. Well, I'm watching these people that are getting hired, and they're coming in, and they got 5 days. They got 4 days. How did I go from, how do you take my income that I'm working for you for 4 years, you know, and you just take my income and you just slice it right in half? And I have tax documents to prove that my income was literally sliced right down the middle. And I dealt with that for almost a year of working 2 days a week. I would pick up days when I could, but that's what they do to you. If they don't want you there or they want you to leave, they'll work your days first. They figure, okay, well, she's working 5 days a week. Let's see what she do. She'll quit if we cut her down to 2 because she can't survive. But luckily, I had a good, strong man in my corner, and them two days we worked it out. You know, he was there to help me, you know, bridge the gap. So I was spiteful and I stayed. And I took my 2 days, and I worked my 2 days. Now, as anyone know, you've been pregnant, you got a wife, you got a mother or grandma, you grow. You get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was just, my baby was just growing. He was healthy. Everything was fine. I was working. I went to my manager, Jonathan, and I said, look, you know, pregnancy is considered a short-term disability by federal law. I am supposed to be afforded the same accommodations that a short-term disabled person would be accommodated. So that means light duty, modified task. So that's what I asked for. Light duty, modified task. Can I be a host? Can I walk the people to the table? I can do that. The bar was fine, but it was shelving units in the bar, and I couldn't reach up because my stomach was so big. So people would ask me for something on the top shelf. I'd say, you have to go to the mid shelf. But I can't reach up there. So I would have to have help from bussers. Just, it was so many people helping me that it became a hindrance to their jobs. So I felt like, well, why not just do something that's a little easier, and I don't have to have everybody coming to help me. I was told right on the spot, we don't have anywhere else for you to work. So basically, struggle through this or get out. We don't have nothing for you. You didn't look at the schedule. You didn't talk to any of the other managers. You didn't check anything. This is it for you. I said, okay, I need the money. I'm going to keep working. Now, my doctor telling me, you know, don't lift more than 50 pounds. Don't, you know, all the do's and don'ts of pregnancy. I'm doing all of that. I'm lifting, I'm stretching, putting my hands I'm stepping up on stools. I'm doing all kind of dangerous things. You know, but by the grace of God, I was okay. I'm still working. So now I come in, and instead of 2 days, let's see what she do with 1 day. So they cut me down to 1 day. So I took my 1 day in stride, and I did the best job that I could do in that 1 day. When I would come in, the people that came in behind me, they knew that the job was going to be done. They didn't have to come behind me and be like, oh, this wasn't done, that wasn't done. I still did everything I had to do. So the 1 day I'm working, I'm fine. 1 day in November, I come in for my shift, and there's a bartender named Christine there, and she says, what are you doing here? I said, I'm not here to eat. You know, I work here. I'm here to work. Oh, you're not on the schedule anymore. Wait a minute. Am I not on the schedule for today? Or am I not on the schedule anymore? I'm not on the schedule anymore. So I get the bar manager, Chuck. He comes around, and I'm like, Chuck, what's going on? Oh, well, I mean, I figure you was big and pregnant. You ain't want to be here. You don't need to be here. Thanks for the compliment, by the way. Thank you. But I do need to be here because I need to get paid. I need money. A few weeks before this incident happened, I went into the office. My husband worked for a Cleveland school board. He lost his job. I went in there. I was crying, so distraught, because now this is an added stress on me and my family while I'm pregnant. So I'm crying because it's insurance, it's income loss. So I'm like, you know, I need more hours. Oh, we understand. Oh, yeah, that's just terrible. We'll work it out for you. 2 months go by, no more hours, no nothing.
Still at one.
Still one. They actually took me down during that time. They actually took me from 2 days to the 1 day after I cried, and I'm not a crier. You know, it took a lot for me to break down and just let them know, like, this is what's going on with me.
It was the hard moment.
Right. You know, that made it even worse.
I know.
You know, but I'm in there, and they probably figured that's what it was, but it's still like you trying to act like you care, but your actions is showing me you don't care. You know? So after the 1 day, and then they took me off the schedule, so then there's nothing left for me to do. There's nothing. You done told me I'm big and pregnant, that's why I'm not here. Then you got Danny, he asking me, don't you people know about condoms? And I'm like, well, who? Pregnant people? I'm like, of course I knew about condoms, but I'm a 32-year-old married woman. What do I need to know about condoms? I'm the one person that don't need to know nothing about a condom, that needs to be doing what I'm doing right now, and that's starting my family. But that is the connotation that he puts off on the women, the black women in a restaurant that were pregnant. You know, we were just, you know, hood rats, you know, just popping out babies. And it's like, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But you shouldn't be working in this capacity, because you work with all kinds of people. And if that's your frame of mind, you know, as a manager, you don't need to work with other people. You don't need to be around other people. You need to be in, like, a toll booth where people put change in a box and they just keep on going. They don't talk to you, you don't talk to them. That's the kind of place you need to be. So I went and I had my baby. Everything was fine. I had no intentions on going back because I was so angry because of the way I was done. I'm going to explain something really quick. I don't think most people understand that as a tipped employee, when you're fired or they take you off the schedule, your money stops that day. There's no 2 weeks, you get a $400 check. It doesn't work like that. Your money, your income, if it's Tuesday and you go in on Tuesday and they say sayonara, Tuesday, you had no more money. No milk for the babies. You know, no gas, no water bill, no nothing. No extra $100 to pay the landlord, no nothing. It stops. It ceases. So it just makes all the things that you've heard, the way that they do fire people, a little more horrific, because they know they're cutting them people's incomes off right then and there. When that last word, you're fired, we no longer need your services, when they say those words, you might as well take your hands, put them in your pockets, pull your pants pockets out, because they empty. You have no money. That's it. So you got to go home, you got to sit there and think with your family of what are you going to do tomorrow? Because you're used to getting cash every day. Every day. You know, it's a hustle. It's a hustle. You're legally doing the right thing. And you're used to that cash every day. And when that cash stops, everything stops. So it puts stress on my pregnancy, stress on me, stress on my husband, even more stress on my family. So I had no intentions on going back there to work. I was good. Me and my mother-in-law, for whatever reason, she loves her food because she never worked there. If she would work there, she wouldn't love their food. But she wanted to go up there, and I wanted my friends that I work with to see the baby. So I went up there with her. And as we were leaving, Jonathan Patterson walked up to me and my mother-in-law and said, when are you coming back to work? We really need you. Now, I didn't really care for Jonathan, but I do care for money. And at the time, I was getting a little restless, so I was like, yeah, you know, maybe he's 5 months. Maybe it's time for me to go to work. Now, what job do you know lets a pregnant mother that had her baby on Christmas Day stay on leave for 5 months and then ask her to come back to work? Why would they ask me to come back?
Well, you had to be a good worker.
I was great. I was great. You can tell just by the way I'm talking, I got that gift of gab. And I took care of the people that was in front of me. You was taken care of. You had no worries. But if you really think about it, why would you ask me after 5 months? Now that's not even 12 weeks, and you got to come back by law. But you gave me 5 months and asked me to come back. Why would you do that? Is it to cover up the fact that you know that you put me on leave against my will and that's a federal law that you broke? So you wanted to cover up your tracks and have me come back to work and everything?
You know, time goes by. So I could just feel the pressure building, and I'm constantly going to him, saying something to him. I'm getting more and more upset.
And go.
Right, I'm getting it right. And it's hard, and you just know.
The wind can blow, and it's painful. Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I'm working. And one of my guests was like, what did you do? Spill water? Did you spill a drink on yourself? And I look down, you know, because I'm working. I'm really focused on what I'm doing, and my whole shirt is wet. And I said, no, you know, I just spilled some beer on me. You know, that I'm okay. And so I told the manager, I need a shirt. Like, I still was going to work. I was going to stuff some tissue, and I was still going to keep working. Just do what you're supposed to do. You know, just go back to work. I'll get in a minute. Minute goes by. We all the way up to 9 o'clock. Now, I'm making excuses the whole time I'm working. Like, it's beer. Like, yeah, we had a wet T-shirt contest back here. You know, we making jokes just so the guests can be in. It's not their fault. They don't have to be, you know, they don't have to be impacted by what I'm going through. That's not their problem. But, you know, I'm just making sure that I'm covered. So at 9 o'clock, I said, I'm cold because I'm soaked. You know, 9 o'clock, I said, that's it. I got to go. That's it. That was my breaking point. I got to go. So I didn't go to the manager because apparently me going to the manager all night, that didn't get me nowhere. I told the gentleman that I was working with, I did everything I could do to help him get out of there when he needed to get out of there, but I told him I got to go. I walked out. Good night. I came back in the next day. They said, you know, are you okay? You working today? They didn't even notice that I left in a huff. I said, I can't do this anymore. I got family obligations. I can't work here anymore. Because to me, why would I sit up there and bring up like, oh, yeah, you know, you left me with my you know, breath sweating with milk. And why? I'm not going to go with you like that because you was there. You know what you did. I'm not going to do that. Just let me sign a letter of resignation and sayonara. I'll see you in court. Because I tried to talk to the employee relations. I got retaliation from that. I talked to the bar manager, the general manager. You know, I sat back and like I said, I was one of the people that slid up under the radar. I didn't have any problems. I watched how they do people. I watched them do people just any kind of way. When they don't like you, you know, they will systematically find a way to get you out of there. And whether it's legal or illegal, it doesn't matter because they all cover each other's backs. They all cover each other's tracks. So they told the government, the Olive Garden told the government that I requested a leave. I kept asking for less and less hours. And I'm like, how, when my husband lost his job, we lost more than half of our income when he lost that job. Because he's the breadwinner. So when he lost that job, I lost more than half of my income coming in my house. What fool do you know that would go to your boss and say, you know what, I'm pregnant, I'm about to have my first baby. Not my third, but my first. The most precious, you know, the first one. My husband don't have a job.